things are getting worse at the for the Uvalde Police Department because we're finding out that they're lying left and right, and they've hired a private law firm to argue it doesn't have to release school shooting public records. That's how bad it is. They don't want the public to know what they did. This is how bad it is. The city of Uvalde and its police department are working with a private law firm to prevent the release of nearly any record related to the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in which 19 children and 2 teachers died, according to a letter obtained by the motherboard in response to a series of public information requests.
Wow.
The public records Uvalde is trying to suppress include body camera footage, photos, 9/11 calls, emails, text messages, criminal records, and more. Wow, it's almost like the Uvalde Police Department and their city are criminals.
It sounds like somebody should make a call to the Institute for Strategic Dialogues.
The city has not voluntarily released any information to a member of the public. The city's lawyer, Cynthia Trevino, who works for the private law firm Denton, Navarro, Roach, Bernal, and Zeck, wrote in a letter to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. The city wrote the letter asking Paxton for a determination about what information it is required to release to the public, which is standard practice in Texas. Paxton's office will eventually rule which of the city's arguments have merit and will determine which, if any, public records it is required to release. Should have to release every public record. It's called a public record.
You don't get to choose.
Why do they get to choose?
Shouldn't it be called a private record then? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's a private record. It's not a public record. The letter makes clear, however, that the city and his police department want to be exempted from releasing a wide variety of records, in part because it is being sued, in part because some of the records could include highly embarrassing information. I'm going to guess that's the reason. In part because some of the information is not of legitimate concern to the public. Oh, really? In part because the information could reveal methods, techniques, and strategies for preventing and predicting crime. Oh, you guys aren't doing any of that. So don't worry about it.
Dismissing the entire Uvalde police force?
Will that help? In part because some of the information may cause or may regard emotional mental distress, and in part because its response to the shooting is being investigated by the Texas Rangers and the FBI and the Uvalde County District's Attorney. So they don't want to tell you anything. Why? Because they're a bunch of criminals. And I've always told you that police are a half turn of the screw away from being criminals, if not already criminals themselves.
It's like from the top down, it's like that.
I mean, of course.
Like it, 75 years to get your test, to the data on your vaccine.
Yeah, the Pfizer's not going to release vaccine trial data for 75 years. To the police department's not going to release their body camera. What? And here's the chief liar.
Suspected of where we knew the shooter entered, Ramos, was propped open by a teacher.
So he's lying. And he sounds and looks like a guy who knows he's lying. And I'm going to just say that guy's a liar. That guy's a criminal, and he's the head of their police. That is Stephen McGraw, and he's the Texas Department of Public Safety director. And if this isn't what a guy looks like if this isn't what a guy looks like when he knows he's lying, I don't know what is.
Where we knew the shooter entered, Ramos, was propped open by a teacher. 11:28, the suspect vehicle.
That's all been proven to be false. Now you know why they don't want to release their body cam footage? Because it was so that they've been lying all along. Lawyer, Uvalde teacher did not leave door open that gunman used, so that was a lie. Earlier this week, Motherboard reported on a similar letter sent to Paxton by the Texas Department of Public Safety, which wanted to suppress body camera footage because it could expose weaknesses in police response to crimes that criminals could then exploit. It could also expose that you guys are criminals and should be in jail. You're criminally negligent.
They're the criminals exploiting it.
That's right. The main seeming weakness in the Uvalde response was that the police, in violation of standard policy and protocol, refused to risk their lives to protect the children. That was the weakness. For example, the city and its police department argue that it should be exempted from releasing police officer training guides, policy and procedure manuals, shift change schedules, security details, and blueprints of secured facilities, because these could be used to decipher methods, techniques, and strategies for presenting. Hey, how about fuck off? The Uvalde Police Department and Texas Department of Public Safety have been pilloried by the press and the public for standing in the hallway while gunmen killed children against standard protocol, and for preventing parents from entering the building to save their own children. Those cops, people are going to find out who they are, and it's not going to be pretty for them. We already know the top guy's lying. And that videotape is going to come out of those cops standing there with their dick in their hands, with their shields and their M16 or whatever the hell they had, while the guy's killing kids and them standing out there doing nothing.
Oh, they stopped that guy from saving his wife.
They did stop a guy from saving his wife and saving. Yeah, they did stop. Mm-hmm.
That's the gunman they tackled. The guy who was going.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The letter also argues that the department should be exempted from releasing body cam footage simply because it could be information considered to be confidential by law, either constitutional, statutory, or by... What is the point of a body cam if it's going to remain secret? The body cam is there so we can see what the cops are doing and if they're criminals or not. And the cops are criminals. They claim that the compilation of individuals' criminal history is highly embarrassing information, which is a strange cover. The embarrassing information is the inept police responses. Yes. Christopher Schneider, a professor of sociology at Brandon University, who studies police body cameras and the disclosure of footage from them, he told Motherboard, noting that suspects' criminal histories are released by the police all the time without anyone having sequestered them.
I thought they
requested them. Requested
they said
them.
The shooter didn't have a known criminal history, I thought, was the initial story. Remember that?
That's what
But actually, they don't want to say if he did?
Now that it turns out, that's what it sounds like. They have no problem using information like that against individuals of the public. Oh, no. It sounds like they want to, if the cops...
Is it if the cops have criminal histories?
If the cops have criminal histories? The claim that the compilation of individuals' criminal history is highly embarrassing. So it sounds like cops. That's what that sounds like to me. Like they don't want you to know the history of the cops' prior criminal. That's what that sounds like.
First degree sitting around with your dick in your hand.
It's rather ripe to say any of this is not a legitimate public concern, he added. The whole country is trying to figure out how to not allow this to happen again. Schneider says that lumping together all 148 public records requests and asking for a legal ruling on everything at once seems like a tactic to prevent the release of anything and everything. It appears that they're conflating all of the information requests as a justification to not release the stuff we should be seeing. If it's an officer's email to his wife, yeah, we don't need to see this. But the body-worn camera footage is of concern. They're conflating all of this information together to suppress legitimate stuff. And this is from Shimon Prokupets, says, reporters were asked to leave Uvalde City Hall because people are intimidated by us. Intimidated by reporters. Texas legislators are meeting here with law enforcement behind closed doors. The fire marshal also told a local chaplain and father of a victim to exit from the building. These guys are mental. These guys in Uvalde are all criminals.
Boy, I feel bad for Judge Alec Baldwin for not wanting to hand his phone over.
No kidding. Watch this.
Can I ask you why they would be intimidated by
No,
us?
sir, I can ask you to leave again, please.
I understand that, but why would they be intimidated by us?
So they're telling the journalists to leave to the cops.
Maybe they're intimidated because a whole force of them couldn't stop
Hey,
one
yeah.
crazed gunman.
So those are more Uvalde coward cops protecting themselves and protecting the powerful while they let children be slaughtered because they're cowards.
I mean, they should stay in the building. What are those cops going to do? Wait an hour for the border patrol to handle it?
That's right. I would say, why did those journalists leave? Get arrested.
Wait, turns out border patrol's like the
You
only
have
cops that can
cameras.
You guys have cameras. Make
Film
them
the
arrest you.
shit.
Make them arrest you.
Stop following directions.
Why would you leave the fucking city hall? Because a cop told you to?
Excuse me, sorry. Triumph the insult comic dog wouldn't have left.
That's
Has
the,
someone complained to you, sir, about being intimidated?
Actually, yes.
Like
We
who?
actually had a lady that go.
so that's the face of a corrupt criminal coward. That's what they look like. And they get to wear a gun. And they're giant pussies. This guy's a giant pussy coward, kicking
bet he
journalists
normally-
out of a fucking thing instead of going, no, what?
I bet he normally gets to say it a lot more confidently too, but it's like really a nervous time for all these cops. So they're like, no, the lady said,
Yeah.
Panic attack last week.
Because reporters were in the building?
Yes, she just freaked out.
Yeah, that's her
Then
problem.
she gets to leave.
Yeah, then she has to leave. If so, she had a panic attack because there were
What
reporters. Well, then it sounds like she needs mental health help. You don't kick a reporter out because someone had a panic attack. And they're all leaving. They all just listened to that guy. What if all the reporters said no? What would they do? Jesus Christ. Everybody's a coward in Uvalde. Anything you got to say, Kurt? This is it. It's our last story.
How, like, whatever they want of like, hey, we got to get the guns. After this pathetic display of how you're not going to be protected, how are they going to pull that off? Where people are going to, oh yeah, I'll disarm.
Right? This really kills the gun control movement. This Uvalde thing.
The monopoly on violence. It turns out monopolies suck, I guess, across the board.
Hey, we're doing stand-up dates. Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Chicago, Sacramento, and then San Diego, where I'm taping my new special. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows. We're coming to your town, maybe.